What's a new update without a few bugs? What's good? It's your boy Rico. Welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Duel. And before we get into today's episode, where we're going to actually go over, give you my thoughts and opinions on all the figures that we've gotten, and I do have a match to show you. The match is going to be titled Not Over Yet, and it really is going to show off the buff from the plates, because I really want to show that off before we do the figures, because my main issue, why is this banner on the 10th? Why is this on the 10th? Like, for the people like me who purchased the banner when the Z-Powered update came out, which was on the 13th, I have to wait 3 days. I have to wait 3 days for me to pick any of the figures. I see what you're doing, devs. You're making these figures available to be purchased before the update. So people who want their hands on it right away, they're going to purchase it. But I'm not. I'm going to wait until the 13th. So I'm a little upset with that. And also, if you are new to the Player Pass and you just got it, please, please, please do not use all of your 10 or 6 picks right away. We are going to be getting the Aegislash. You need to save for the Aegislash. That's 4 figures. Aegislash, Blade, Aegislash, Blade, Shield. Well, 5 figures. Honage and Doublade. Oh, no, just kidding. It's 4. 1, 2, yeah, it's 4. So you need to at least save 4 slots. Actually, I don't know how we'll get the Honage and Doublade, but I don't know. We'll see. Just save some room. Just 4 to be safe. There's a couple bugs going on. I know that they mentioned it in the or not the maintenance, but the notices, like the flying Z move. I actually experienced it last night. I was playing with Misdreavus. She used a flying Z move and it crashed the game. Now there's another bug that's going on, and I think it's due to Stack Attacka. I don't think this is in the notice, but I've seen it a couple times. So if you're playing somebody who's running Stack Attacka, if you're running Stack Attacka yourself, I don't know if you can Z-move other opponents, because if they land their blues and they're not even a Steel-type Mon, it doesn't KO them. So let's talk about Stack Attacka right now. Let's just read its ability. Ultra Beast until the end of this Pokemon's first battle. After moving to the field, the blue attacks of your Steel-type Pokemon are not lost from the effects of abilities or Z moves. And that's only on the first turn. So if you're going to be running Stack Attacka, you're most likely going to be running Poipole. The added damage and number of persistent turns of attack effects of this Pokemon are additively increased each Pokemon in the Ultra Space, hence the name Stack Attacka. If you have 2 Mons in the Ultra Space and you use its Z move, the Continental Crush, I think that's what it is, they gain weight 27. That's absolutely insane. And same with the Gyro Ball. If you have 2 Mons in the Ultra Space, this thing, I think it buffs it by 90, 30 by itself if the MP is higher, and then 30 more for each Mon that's in the Ultra Space. So that's pretty crazy. I love the ability. And you know what I really like about it? Devani and I can't remember who the other person was. They both predicted that we would get something that's going to prevent the blues from being taken away from Z moves or from abilities, and they were right. So I like what happened here, and I'm glad that we as a community have actually got something. Well, I won't say actually got something, like we don't get things right, but we guessed on something and it turned out to be right. So basically what I want to talk about here is this opponent here is Reynolds HD. It looks like they're about to win here, right? Well, Corey has a shot here. Their Z gauge is up, and what they're going to do is they're going to Z move the Marshadow. So the dodge is going to disappear. But what happens is Marshadow hits the dodge, which visually shows a miss, but it doesn't get KO'd. So is that the bug that's going around? So watch. It's going to use the Corkscrew Crash. Wants to land right here in front of this Primal Kyogre. They spin, hits dodge, which says miss, but Marshadow is still on the board. So if that's I don't understand why that happened. I mean, obviously that is a bug. But if it's not a bug, somebody please let me know in the comments below what exactly happened there. All right, so we're going to end it. And then so now let's talk about the figures that we got. And then, like I said, at the very end, we do have a match. So I do want to show off the plates. The plates are going to be... dude, I think the plates are actually brilliant. All right, hold on. Let me actually look at the notice. I want to know if they actually said something about the Stack Attacka or that. Incorrect text and current related bug. Okay, so here's the bug. Stack attack. The opponent's Pokemon's blue attack effects are not being lost when one's own Steel type Pokemon use a Z move. That's not what we just saw, right? The opponent's Pokemon's blue attack effects are not being lost when one's own Steel type Pokemon use a Z move. Oh, okay, no, that does make sense. Because he uses it on Lucario, and the opponent's blue attacks are not being lost. Okay, so never mind. They did talk about it. I thought it was something different. Okay, all right. Let's go over the monthly rewards and the figures. We'll start with the Ponyta. The Ponyta and the Rapidash are the ones that we can. Oh, and the Mega Metagross. So let's talk about Mega Metagross. Ooh, I do not like this ability whatsoever. When this Pokemon moves from the bench to the field, or when this Pokemon appears as an evolution, the abilities of opposing Pokemon that have cracked marker are lost while those Pokemon are on the field, and then the plus damage. Like, cracked isn't even a thing. We got Metagross, and we talked about it in the last video. It had the rapid calculation to counter the meta, what was going on. So we do get the Super Jammer, but like I said, nobody does anything with crack. So what that tells me is maybe in the future we're going to be getting some sort of fighting banner that's going to add more fighting mons that are going to be able to allow more cracked markers on the opponents. That's just what I think. But as of right now, this does nothing. The attack damage is, it's pretty good, but damage, we're in a Z move meta, so damage is I don't want to say irrelevant, but it's not that important. We did predict the Meteor Mash. We did not predict the Teleport Beam, but the Meteor Mash, after this battle, this Pokemon deals plus 30 damage while it was on the field. We knew it was going to be some sort of buff in damage. I thought it was going to be like Tectonic Charge. I was wrong, so I do like this. So it hits for 160, and then it deals plus 30 damage while it's on the field. So that means that the Bullet Punch is hitting. Dude, a Bullet Punch priority hitting for 130 is not bad. And then the Teleport Beam, we know this thing Teleport Beam does because I hate Kadabra. Ponyta. Now, a lot of people were saying this is like the new Rush, the new Dio Speed. But I was going back and forth with Sam, and I think it's kind of like the anti-Rush. Just because of its ability. At the start of your turn, this Pokemon may move to a point 1 to 4 steps away in a straight line instead of an MP move. If it does, this Pokemon counts as having already battled. So you can't rush with this thing in a rush deck and have a Zoro because it's already been battled if you use the ability, so you can't switch with Zoro. But it could be cheesy because it does, like, the opponent's not going to necessarily want to attack into it, because if they do get the kick away, they can get the evolution off or take the entry point, which this is how I think you would use this figure, and I've tested it a little bit last night. We used the Russian ability, and I like the Russian ability because at one point Rapidash was considered the fastest Pokemon in the Pokemon universe, but that was back in Gen 1. Anyway, you rush up like the left side or the right side, right? The opponent is forced to either go to the goal or take the entry points. But if they take the entry point, then you can balloon and threaten game. So if you do that, what's the opponent going to do? They're probably going to move on the left side 2 spaces near the goal. Then you take the entry point. Then they're going to have to cover the goal. But what you can do is what I did. This is very niche. I ran the special attack, so it gives +2 stars. So I just went in for the attack, got it, 3-star kick away. They move 2 spaces away. They gain weight. If you have the Rapidash, you can evolve. But the problem is, everybody is running Goal Block. So you would have to do that, and you would have to Goal Block, and then you'd have to DC. So there's too much, but there is some sort of niche to it. I do like the figure. Shiny Ray. We finally got the shiny Mega Rayquaza, so it's going to be usable. Shiny Ray is going to be usable because its ability is way better than Mega Ray. And since we have I think it's Blacephalon, that's how you say it, right? And the Stack Attacker. Ultra Beasts I think they're going to be coming back, so I think we're going to be seeing more Primal and now Shiny Ray actually has a purpose to stay because it does have its Mega Evolution. Got a bunch of rewards. I do not like how we have the rare Steelix as reward when we were given the EX Steelix. I believe EX Steelix should be in the monthly rewards. But take a look at the Rapidash. Same ability. What I don't like is, like, how much power creep we have just from this banner specifically. Like, this figure, once evolved, can take out Lunala. A Rapidash should never be able to take out Lunala. It's going to have a 2-star Horn Drill, which KOs. Overheat, which is going to hit for 140. So if you have a Lunala that's not chained to 10, it's going to tie in damage. But if this thing's chained to 10, out damages Lunala. It can burn Lunala. Dude, it's a really good figure. But the power creep is just insane in this game. Matang. The masks are pretty cool. We do get to see the Flareon. We were actually right about that. Where's Flareon? Metagross, Eevee. Yeah, Flareon. So we were right about getting the Flareon. That mask looks pretty dope. Now let's talk about, oh man, Arceus. I love this figure. I love the way they did multi-type. Remember, we were trying to figure out how they would do multi-type, and it sounded too confusing. The way they did this is absolutely perfect. When this Pokemon moves to the field, choose one Pokemon on the field. While this Pokemon is on the field, this Pokemon type becomes the type of the chosen Pokemon. So you can choose a typing from your side or a typing from the opponent's side. This Pokemon is not excluded from the duel by the attack effects of opposing Pokemon. This Pokemon is not moved to Ultra Space by the attack effects of opposing Pokemon. So this thing stays on the board. It is the original one, the creator, so I do love that. We did guess that it was going to get Extreme Speed. We also guessed that it was going to get Judgment. We did not guess on the return, so let's talk about the Judgment moves the battle opponent to the PC. The battle opponent is not knocked out. So pretty much like the Sunstrike Steel. I don't know. I think Judgment should have done something more, I don't know, something more crucial. Not just send them to the PC. But then the return is pretty nice. Increases your Z gauge by half its max value. So this thing at level 5 does not have a bad roll. It doesn't have a bad roll at all. And it's so versatile. This thing can be so good in multiple decks. Put this in a grass deck with Grass Sphere. This thing is not going anywhere. Put this in a water deck with Manaphy. Buff and damage. Put this in a flying deck with Altaria. Buff and damage. Like, this thing has so much potential. Dragon, Ice. Dude, it's gonna be a staple. I believe this is definitely going to be a staple. It's gonna be, unfortunately, it's gonna be in the meta, and then we're gonna see how overused it is, just like the Dawn Wings, and then the next banner, something's gonna counter it. So proceed with caution on how much resources you want to dump into this. I don't think this is a well, it might be a figure that's going to always be good. Like, Lucario is always going to be good. Vibrava is always going to be good. This figure, it might be, but we'll just see it. We'll just have to see what happens with the counters in the power creep. All right, now let's go look at the other figures, and then, like I promised, we do have a pretty cool match that does show off the plates, which we'll actually talk about the plates when we talk about Victini. We'll talk about Victini and how I believe the plates are going to work really well with it. All right, Mega Steelix. Mega Steelix, Heavy Slam. That hits, I think once it evolves, it hits for like 210 damage. That's absolutely insane. This Pokemon cannot be surrounded by your opponent's Pokemon. At the start of your turn, instead of an MP move, this Pokemon may move through an adjacent Pokemon to a point 1 to 2. So basically, it has the Giratina ability, and it cannot be surrounded. The Wheel, Heavy Slam, like I said, hitting for an absurd amount of damage. 210 damage. Again, I don't think this thing should be able to out-damage Lunala. It's just weird, man. The Rock Polish. I love the Rock Polish. Remember in the last video, I was like, 1 MP Mons don't really have justice. It's really hard to make and design a 1 MP Mon that's good, like Selly and the Golisopod. Well, I believe they did it with Steelix. We'll talk about Steelix when we get to Steelix. But the Rock Polish, why I liked it at first, but I'm a little sad. Rock Polish. Until the end of your next turn, the white attacks of this Pokemon become gold attacks. I would think it should be on just the next turn or the next battle. I think it should be the next battle. It should carry over to the next battle. Because how it works is if you hit Rock Polish, it has to be the next turn, it's gold. Otherwise, if it's a turn after that, it's not gold anymore. So I think it should carry on. But Rock Polish, what it does in the main series, I think it increases your speed by 2 stages. So that's why they're making the Heavy Slam a priority attack. That's why they're making it a gold attack, because all gold attacks in the game currently are priority attacks in the main series. But I think it would be interesting if it gave you a plus MP as well, because like I said, in the main series, it does increase your speed. In the Land Burst, the battle opponent and one neighbor Pokemon directly behind it are knocked back one step and gain weight. So pretty much like the Muddy Water. So I really like this figure, but I think I like Steelix a little bit more. Stack Attacker, we already covered Stack Attacker. Blacephalon, let's talk about Blacephalon. Ultra Beast, until this Pokemon engages in its first battle after moving to the field. The purple attacks of your Fire-type Pokemon gain +1 star. If this Pokemon knocks out its battle opponent with one of its attacks, the Z move gauge is reduced by half its max value. This Pokemon can move through figures, so basically has a built-in dark Z move. If it KOs you, your Z move goes into half. We did predict, right, that we were going to be getting the Mind Blown, but the Mind Blown we didn't predict on what it actually was going to do, which knocks out the battle opponent and then attaches the final marker to yourself. We're going to scoop up with this thing. Dude, I think that this thing is a pretty good standalone figure, and it's somewhat balanced because of the Mind Blown. And Shadow Beam, we know what Shadow Beam does, and the Call Signal. We have another Call Signal. I can't wait to see what people do with Ultra Beast, but I think this banner is actually really well balanced. We have this increase support for Ultra Beast, but then we also have the shiny Mega Ray. I'm just excited to start testing and get my hands on these figures, but I have to wait another couple days. All right, Steelix, like I said, 1 MP Mons don't have justice, but this Mon does have justice because of its ability. It has the tunnel construction of Drill Burr and Extra Drill A and B. When this Pokemon moves from the bench, it may move to a point 1 step away from the entry point at the start of your turn. Instead of an MP move, you may move this Pokemon through an adjacent Pokemon to a point next to that Pokemon. If it does either of those things, your turn ends. Now here is the question regarding Steelix. Are you better off running just Steelix, or are you better off running Metal Coat into Steelix? Let's look at the attacks. I mean, the reason why I think it's designed beautifully is because of its ability and because of the takeaway. Because it is 1 MP Mon, it's 1 MP, it can take away anything. Now let's talk about why it would be good if you evolve from Onix. Well, Onix, you get a 3-star takeaway, and of course your damage is going to buff, but because we're in a Z move meta, 170 is already an absurd amount of damage. We don't necessarily have a damage tier, like 140 was the cutoff. Now it's kind of all over the place. So I don't think the 180 is going to make much of a difference from Steelix. The star, however, will make a difference. But then again, if you do that, then you get rid of the ability right away. So what if you get rushed? And what if you only have 1 long throw? Like, what are you going to be running with the Steel deck? I think the Steelix ability alone negates me wanting, or not negates, but just prevents me from wanting to evolve it from Onix. I don't think the Metal Coat provides anything other than the attack damage, but doesn't it add some sort of an effect, like the damage from the buff from the opponent can't be applied to this Pokemon or something like that. I'll have to go back and look at it, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the Onix into Steelix. Victini. Okay, so Victini is very interesting. Victini is very interesting. People were like saying it was really good at the beginning. I didn't understand why. I can kind of understand why now. All right, it's got the Victory Star. If this Pokemon is not affected by a special condition, it may move over opposing non-flying type Pokemon on the field. Of course, it's a runner. It's just going to move through everything. This Pokemon may respin just once in battles on your turn. This thing has a built-in DC. So let's take a look at its wheel. It's got the Fusion Flare and the Fusion Bolt. If this Pokemon is not affected by a special condition, and if any of your other Pokemon on the field has Fusion Flare attack, exclude Pokemon knocked out by the attack from this duel. V-Create attaches a -1 MP marker to this Pokemon, and then the Fusion Flare, which does the same thing as the Fusion Bolt, but it's just has if someone has the Fusion Bolt attack. And the Searing Shot, which I think I talked about this with people in my chat. Searing Shot, the battle opponent and the Pokemon in a straight line directly behind it become burned. Well, guess what? Charmeleon has Searing Shot. I believe Arcanine has Searing Shot, and it doesn't do this. So we have the same attack that does 2 different things. That's not a thing in Pokemon Duel, but we did have something like that, like Noivern and Lugia with the Hurricane, and that was changed. So I'm assuming this is going to get changed. Now let's talk about why this thing is good, though. What plate did we get? It was Power Battle or no, I think it's the Power Battle. The Power Battle, right? If you or an opposing Pokemon roll purple, it shifts one space over. So what are you going to be running with this figure? I think you're gonna, like, I mean, you can run the dragons if you want to exclude things. So who has a large purple that Power Battle would be good on? Moonbeam Facer, as SHG likes to call him, but Dawn Wings. If you use that plate on Dawn Wings and Dawn Wings hits the Moon Guy's beam, it rolls into a mist. And if you hit Shearing Shot, it rolls into the Fusion Bolt. If you have the twins on your deck, or even the black or white Kyurem, guess who gets excluded? That's right. That's right. So I think this thing is going to be there's going to be so much cheese that you can do with this thing. And the odds of it hitting specific moves increase because of its built-in DC. I want to see lots of cheese with this. I can't wait to get my hands on this and just test it and see what its true potential can be. All right, Victini, Rapidash. Okay, I think that's all the figures. Yeah, pretty sure that's all the figures. Now let's jump into a match that I do want to show you guys that does feature the plates. All right, this match comes from, I believe it was Paul. Paul sent this to me via Twitter, and Paul is going to be the Invincible. I believe, yeah, Paul is Invincible, I'm pretty sure. But take a look at Paul. What they're running is they're going against a steel deck here. A steel deck here with the Selly could be interesting. Or no, why did I say it could be interesting? It's, we know what Selly does. I guess I said no. It is interesting because they're going to rendezvous, but they don't have nothing to bring it back. That's why it's interesting. They just want to make this thing hit for 200 damage because it did get the buff. But other than that, I don't know how I feel about this deck. This deck's, yeah, it is interesting actually. All right, so what they are running, yeah, it is the Power Battle. If it is a purple, it shifts. Okay. And they're going to be rocking the Infernape. And Infernape, remember, Infernape got a buff. Is this level? Oh, it's level 10. Or level 5. No, it's chain level. What level is this? It's level 9. Damn, so it's that big of a dodge at level 9, level 10? It's crazy. But it did get the increased damage in the Drive Kick. And we know Drive Kick just KOs and replaces. So keep that in mind as we play this match. Eevee. I miss running Eevee. Love what Eevee can do. I miss opening up like that. Makes them play defensive. Got the entry point right away. Oh, also Mystic posted something on Twitter where he was playing against Supa, and the Supa was running Duskmane and 2 Dawn Wings, and their names are Necrozma. So what they did was they ran the Phantom Energy with the Arceus, and they surrounded the Duskmane, and because Duskmane was surrounded, it was excluded because there's 3 mons on the field with the same name, and that's an effect with the Phantom Energy. So that was something cool to see. Level 9 and a miss. So I remember when I watched this match, I don't understand the opponent here. Why not just Mega Lucario and just go after the Rotom? Because I mean, what Paul does have the gold block. Like I would totally do that. I would Mega KO this thing takes an extra point, KO that thing, this thing gold blocks, and I have like what, 1 or 2 turns left to Mega. How many DCs you have? I would DC like crazy and just try it. Like I don't know. Interesting. Paul's gonna come over. They're gonna attack with the Orca. DC here, trying to get rid of this Eevee, which I don't even think they had that great of. I don't know if I would have done that attack, but they DC here and they get the roll. I would have rolled miss. Oh my god, dude, you guys should have seen my stream last night. Oof, I was so salty. But looks like Paul here is going to Mega, or not Mega, or Z move here to get rid of the Kartana, and now what the Xmon is going to do. Now they pulled a Mega. Now they pulled a Mega and go up for the KO, which I guess they did because Paul was being aggressive with the Primal Kyogre. Covers goal. Attacks again. Going for the surround here. But it's not over yet. That was the title of the match, right? It's not over yet. So has to go block here. Gonna go block with the Primal Kyogre. They're going to advance with the Matang. Puts on the love the play here. Baiting him. He's going to go for the Z move, the Corkscrew Crash. Gets the KO and also gets the surround on the Primal Kyogre. But like I stated, it is not over yet. Watch what Paul's going to do. After the opponent does pull the evolution, Paul does have a trick up their sleeve. They're going to do the power battle, and they're going to attack with the Infernape, hoping that the Celly does land its Flame Gun. Spin does land the Flame Gun, does shift one spot, does get KO'd by a Drive Kick, and that is GG, boys. That was such a good ending. That was such a good ending. But, okay, we're going to stream later today. We'll probably do the boost, which is like, what, 10 wins in 3 days, which I like it and I don't like it. But I can't wait to get my hands on those figures. Please let me know in the comments below. Please send me dual IDs of showcasing any of the new figures. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, as always, peace.